Welcome to the show. Gypsy is one of the greatest musicals ever written, if not the greatest. And when you add a six-time Tony Award winner to the mix, you could say everything is coming up roses and then some over at the Majestic Theater. Let's take a look at the critically acclaimed and groundbreaking Broadway revival of Gypsy.
Here she is, boys! Here she is, world! Here's Rose. Curtain up!
Broadway icon Audra McDonald is Momma Rose in Gypsy. Considered to be one of the greatest musicals of all time, this revival embraces its roots, while also blossoming into something new.
It's the same show, but, slightly different lens. We're not changing anything, we're just embodying who we are in this production.
Some people sit on their butts.
For the first time since the show's 1959 Broadway premiere, the story is focused on a Black woman and her family.
There's a part of my grandmother that's in there, there's a part of my own mother that's in there, and there's a part of every Black woman that's in there. I think she's working with what she has to get her children as far as she possibly can out of the circumstances into which they were born. And she doesn't want limits on them in the way that she had limits, placed on her by her family, by society, by virtue of being born a Black woman.
Audra joins an impressive legacy of Broadway Momma Roses: Ethel Merman, Angela Lansbury, Tyne Daly, Bernadette Peters, and Patti LuPone. The show still dazzles after more than 6 decades thanks to its music, lyrics, and book, a collaboration between musical theater masters Julie Stein, Stephen Sondheim, and Arthur Lawrence.
The show, is so brilliantly constructed and written, 3 of the greats.
Wherever we go, whatever we do.
Audra is a powerhouse herself with 6 Tony Awards, 2 Grammys, and an Emmy. Joy Woods, who was last seen on Broadway in The Notebook, plays Rose's daughter Louise. Tony Award winner Danny Burstein is their manager, Herbie.
I know he goes.
Talk about being a part of this experience, being a part of this moment, this historic Broadway moment.
That hasn't really hit me. And I think we're in a really wonderful time where saying it's the first Black something, it's not rare anymore. And I don't want to become desensitized to it, but I think approaching it as if it's just normal helps the pressure come off a little bit.
Danny, you are reconnecting with your dear pal, Audra McDonald.
We've been friends for about 30 years. She's so open and giving and wonderful. And she's the reason that I'm there. We were doing a TV show called The Good Fight, and we were in between takes. She said, there is a part you would be so right for, something that I'm gonna be doing in the future. When George offered me the role, first text that came in was Audra saying, remember when I told you there was a role that you would be perfect for? This is it.
With this production, we get this beautiful dance number that you get to do that was not in previous productions of Gypsy. And when I was watching it, I was like, oh my gosh, this is a tribute to Josephine Baker.
Let me entertain you, and we'll have.
For it to be a tribute to Josephine Baker is so special because if you look at the burlesque dancers in that time period, they would have not have been able to gain notoriety the same way Gypsy Rose Lee would have. There had to be some sort of gimmick beyond just speaking to grow in that way. And that's why Josephine became who she was. She did have a gimmick of talking to people, but she also was an amazing dancer.
Legendary director George C. Wolfe is bringing his years of expertise and knowledge to this revival. Wolfe has been represented on Broadway with almost 24 shows, including the original productions of Angels in America, Take Me Out, Caroline or Change, and Jelly's Last Jam.
Interestingly enough, when the first day, we didn't sing through. We read through. We read all the book, and we read all the lyrics, and that was how I wanted to introduce the cast to the material is that we are going excavating on the material. We're going digging into the words, the language, what is underneath the thing that is underneath the thing.
I feel like you and Audra have colored a different Momma Rose. She's not a monster.
No.
Like we've seen in previous
Well,
productions.
I was very obsessed with that idea of a monster. Is she a monster? I mean, she's not going to win Mother of the Year. Let's be completely blunt about that.
She's trying, George.
She's trying. She's doing her. But was the monster attached to the title because in 1959, a woman has the audacity to say on stage, after 3 husbands, done with that. I grew up around incredibly strong, very powerful women. So I'm used to being around people who said, no, we're not doing it that way, we're doing it this way. And that's what she does. And she doesn't stop. And she keeps going, she keeps going. That's ferocity. That's bravery. And the world celebrates that. And they don't put monster to it. They call it ambitious.
You brought in the great Camille Brown to be your choreographer, another collaborator on this project. Why bring in someone and not do the traditional Jerome Robbins choreography?
That's why. Because it has been done in every other production. And when you do Hamlet, there is no rule book.
Let me entertain you, and we'll have a real good time, yes, sir.
I love the moment that Joy gets in the second act which is Gypsy Rose's big
Her
strip.
moment, yes. It was really Joy and her ability to move and move so well. And just thinking story-wise, how is she in relationship to the people of the world? During that time, it was even harder for a Black woman in burlesque. So for me to see Joy playing Louise in a moment during segregation, during the Depression, and being so confident in herself and her body. And she's not in a position where we the audience has the power, she has the power.
Whatever the boat I row, you row.
Audra is giving thanks to the late actor Gavin Creel, who passed away last year after a battle with cancer. She dedicates her performance to him, saying he planted the seed for this rose.
Gavin, he's Uncle Gav, one of my husband's closest friends, and therefore I had the honor of getting close to Gavin. I don't think I would have gotten as close to Gavin had it not been for Gavin and Will's friendship. Honey, I gotta talk to you about this. And then he says, you need to drag me, and I'm like, what? He's like, you need to play Momma Rose. You need to play. It needs to be a Black woman. It needs to be you. And it could totally work. I mean, I don't think you have to change anything. It would totally work. You have to do this. You have to do this. He was just in one of his Gavin gets like that. And I was like, and just kind of got it in my head. And then he, ran at George Wolf about it. So, yeah, so it's Gavin.
Is Rose the hardest role you've ever tackled?
Yes. Yeah. Rose vibrates on such a high frequency that's what makes it the hardest by far. And, she never shuts up.
Finished? We're just beginning, and there is no stopping us this time.
And you catch Gypsy now playing at the Majestic Theater with Audra McDonald and company, and it is a must-see.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. For more stories in your communities, click the subscribe button right here. You can also download our app or watch us on TV for the latest news and weather updates every 10 minutes and more. We'll see you then.